Secret language. Language has been used by many people for many different purposes. For keeping secrets, limiting knowledge, limiting access to resources, sending messages in ways that only the intended recipient can understand, and many others. In this self-learning video, we will discuss a few ways in which language is manipulated for such purposes.
Riddles are language puzzles that make use of metaphors expressed in an elegant way. Riddles were used in the past in the selection process. Only the ones able to answer a riddle correctly were considered worthy of whatever is sought. A famous riddle is the riddle of Sphinx. In Greek mythology, a sphinx, a monster with the body of a lion, the head of a human, usually a woman, and usually has wings. In the story of Oedipus Rex, a sphinx decided to block access to the city of Thebes, allowing access if and only if a person trying to enter can answer her riddle. The riddle goes like this.
What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening?
No one could answer the riddle, and those who tried unsuccessfully were eaten by the Sphinx. That is, until Oedipus, a prince of Corinth, came along. He was able to solve the riddle. The answer is man. During the morning, that is, when a man is still very young, he crawls with his hands and legs, 4 feet. Then, in the middle of his life, he walks upright, on 2 feet. In the evening, that is, near the end of his life, he walks on 2 feet plus a cane, 3 feet. The Sphinx, upon hearing the correct answer, killed herself. The joyful people of Thebes made Oedipus their king.
It seems almost every culture in the world has riddles. Riddles have many purposes, some light-hearted and some serious. Riddles are used by different cultures for such purposes as keeping awake during a dead person's wake, for making predictions, such as in the case of Nostradamus, and for entertaining children.
What riddle are you fond of? Please write it in the comments below along with the answer.
Codes are messages constructed in a way that limits access to its meaning, particularly for people who have the key or the wisdom to break the code, meaning decode it. Ciphers are a means of turning a message into a form that conceals the meaning. One of history's most famous ciphers is the Enigma machine of the Nazis. During World War II, it produced coded messages that the Nazis believed could not be deciphered by Allied code breakers. It was composed of typewriter-like keys, but if one was to type a letter, the printout did not show the actual letter but a code. It was broken by a brilliant Polish mathematician, Alan Turing. Alan Turing also formulated a mathematical machine called the Turing machine that is said to be able to solve any mathematical problem. The key to the Enigma machine was the use of special gears that served as the keys to the code. Later on, Allied forces were able to capture submarines and other vessels in which the crew forgot to get rid of all the gears used in the Enigma machine, enabling the Allies to decipher Nazi-coded messages faster.
You have probably watched spy movies in which two people who do not know each other would meet with a pre-arranged code to say. One person would utter a comment. Sometimes it was something mundane, sometimes totally cryptic. If the other person responds properly with the right remark, then the other one says, match the pre-arranged secret, and show that they were the ones with the right intentions. A famous purpose of a coded message is to point to the location of a fabulous treasure. Such was the case of the alleged Tombial treasure, worth tens of millions of dollars in today's money. According to the story, a miner named Tombial hid the treasure and wrote 3 coded documents pointing to the treasure's location. However, only one of the documents made up of numbers, was decoded. It took 20 years for it to be decoded. The key was the American Declaration of Independence. The numbers indicated the nth word in the famous declaration. The decoded message described the general location of the treasure. The BL documents are still publicly available today.
Anagrams. Anagrams are words written by rearranging the letters of other words. Examples of these include the words reside and desire, rescued and reduces, and ovation and to vain. Anagrams became convenient ways of hiding secrets. A classic case of this is when Galileo wrote to Kepler. Galileo wrote the following: Haec immatura a mi iam frustrata leguntur oi. This means, these immature ones have already been read in vain by me. It is a secret message about Galileo's discovery of the phases of the planet Venus. Rearranging the words would show the message. However, this was an imperfect anagram because the word oi does not fit. The message was Cynthia figuras iamalatur mater amorum. This means the mother of love imitates the figures of Cynthia. Writing messages to famous scientists at that time was a way of publishing discoveries. They were written in anagrams to avoid the possibility that the addressee might claim credit for the discovery.
Acrostic poems. Another way messages are hidden is through an acrostic poem. It involves poems whose first letters of every line stand for something else. A famous example of this in the Philippines is the poem Prometheus Unbound by Pete Lacaba, during the time of the Marcos dictatorship. During this time, a pro-Marcos magazine was monitored for any anti-Marcos messages and strictly censored. The poem was published in the magazine without the editor and publisher realizing that there was a hidden message in the acrostic. The magazine was already sold to the public when this anti-Marcos protest was found. The message is shown on the screen.
Cryptic crosswords. Everyone is familiar with crossword puzzles. They involve a description of a word in a horizontal and vertical alignment, with boxes to show how many letters are in the word, and with numbers to indicate which description refers to which words. The British newspaper The Sun has a daily section featuring a cryptic crossword puzzle. The description of each word is done in two ways. One is a literal description of the word. The other is a cryptic description, involving how the word sounds or some other meaning that may be associated with it. For example, for one entry, the literal description is a domestic pet. The cryptic description is African country bore an experimental victim. The answer is guinea pig. Guinea is a country in Africa, and boar can be a synonym for pig. Another entry is described literally as bewitch or beguile. Its cryptic description is charm your way in. The answer is entrance. It could be read with emphasis on second syllable.
In 1994, an American reporter named Michael Drosnin delivered a letter to then Prime Minister of Israel, Yitzhak Rabin, warning him that the reporter found a prophecy in the Bible that the Prime Minister would be assassinated. The Prime Minister disregarded the letter. In 1995, Yitzhak Rabin was assassinated by a Jewish zealot while celebrating a peace rally in Tel Aviv's King Square. Michael Drosnin, the reporter who warned Rabin about the assassination, claimed he found the message by looking for codes in the Bible. Drosnin claims in his best-selling book, The Bible Code, that the Bible is constructed like a giant crossword puzzle. It is encoded from beginning to end with words that connect to tell a hidden story. The Bible is a favorite among many for finding secret anagrams, ciphers, and acrostics. Drosten claims to have found references to US Presidents Barack Obama and Clinton, along with the words Hitler, evil man, Nazi, and slaughter. According to him, the chances of such words being together and sharing meaning by chance would be too high. Other enthusiasts claim that by writing down the literal meaning of the names listed in the genealogy of Jesus Christ in the New Testament, a message could be discovered. Similarly, others claim that the first letters of the names listed in the biblical genealogy, from Adam to Abraham, also produce a message. One curious psalm in the Bible is Psalm 46 in the King James Version of the Bible. In this psalm, the word shake is 46 words from the beginning, and the word spear is 45 words from the end. Many curious enthusiasts have been intrigued by this. Some have speculated that William Shakespeare was one of the committee members who were tasked by the king to undertake this translation. Since the committee members were to remain anonymous, Shakespeare left his mark by putting many instances of the words shake and spear in Psalm 46. Other documents that have been scrutinized for secret, usually coded messages include albums of the hugely popular 60s band, The Beatles. This is mostly true for their later albums. Every time the Beatles published their albums, fans would pore over the covers searching for clues about secrets of the Beatles. This started with the rumor that band member Paul McCartney died in a car crash in 1966. According to the rumor, to keep their fans from grieving, Paul was replaced by a look-alike. However, the Beatles allegedly left clues in their albums to send related messages to their fans. This included their song Glass Onion, in which there was a line that says, "There's another clue for you all. The walrus was Paul."
Gematria. Many of the letters in many ancient languages were also used for numbers. It's possible, therefore, to come up with a related total by summing up the letters standing for numbers in a word, or more importantly, in a name. This is called gematria. A popular application of this is to interpret the instruction in the book of Revelation about the name of the Antichrist as gematria. It also forces all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. Many times have been put forth as the name or number of the beast. However, one very popular interpretation, especially among many Protestants and fundamentalists, is that of the title of the Roman Catholic Pope, Vicarius Filii Dei. Adding up the value of the letters that are also used as numbers in this title, one comes up with 666. As mentioned, this is particularly popular among many Protestants because during the Reformation and even several centuries after it, many Protestants view the Roman Pontiff as the Antichrist.
Backmasking. Popular since the 1960s, but especially during the 1980s and the early 1990s. It is the practice of putting messages that could be discovered when a song is played backwards. Many people were horrified to actually hear a different message when backmasking the popular song Another One Bites the Dust by the band Queen. The message was start smoking marijuana, played over and over again. Many backmasking of popular songs yielded very negative messages. Some alleged messages yielded from backmasking were, however, disputable, as was in the case of the Filipino group Eraserheads, with the song entitled Overdrive. Upon backmasking the song, some people could perceive the singer cursing Jesus. However, upon listening to the backmasking, one could argue that the alleged message was missing many parts and was ungrammatical. Thus, the negative message could simply be a product of the listener's mind, hearing and recognizing its own perceived message. Some who self identify as researchers claim that backmasking shows the inner sentiments of a person during the time of the recording. For instance, a man was recorded as asking a pretty model, "How much is this car?" When the recording backmasked, the vocal message was, "I want to have sex with you." Another instance was when a pastor's recorded preaching was backmasked. The pastor said, the pastor was heard as saying, "I'm very tired." Backmasking of songs waned in popularity because after the 1990s, many popular songs did not have to be backmasked to yield a negative message. That is, the overt lyrics of the song was already negative and unpalatable for many of its listeners.
Argot in secret languages. An argot refers to language used by people under pressure from society in general and particularly from the government. These may be persecuted minorities such as gays, religious minorities, or criminals. These groups have their own vocabulary and even grammatical structures that serve as a way to keep their actions secret as well as to serve as a bond between them, marking out who are insiders and outsiders.
A characteristic of an argot is that its vocabulary items change frequently and quickly, particularly when the population at large gains comprehension of the meaning of a particular word. A secret language is like an argot, but its use is not confined to groups of people under pressure. A classic example of a secret language is Pig Latin. It is usually used by children for fun. Pig Latin involves moving the first consonant sound or consonant cluster from the starting point of a word and moving it to the end, then adding a. Thus, the word Pig Latin in Pig Latin is igpe atin lay.
Similarly, the word secret in Pig Latin would be ekratse. If the word starts with a vowel, the syllable way is simply added to the end of the word. Thus, apple would be apple way and orange would be orange way. Many secret languages are derived from the languages commonly spoken in an area, but with manipulations such as adding, deleting, or transfixing a syllable.
For example, a simple way to produce a secret language would be to simply add the syllable na at the end of every word. For instance, let's go now could be spoken as let's go na now na. This, and by speaking fast, could produce an utterance that cannot be easily understood by uninformed or untrained individuals within earshot. Language has many uses. One of its powerful uses is to keep and share secrets. Thank you for watching.